So some of the things that we need to be thinking about and mindful of, given the fact that we are in the middle of a diesel fuel shortage and ultimately a diesel fuel crisis, is the fact that rationing is going to be a realistic possibility in the very near future. And the rationing could start with fuel itself. If we have a limited supply of diesel fuel available, then the gas stations, the fuel stations, I go to Quick Trip for the most part, racetrack, and they are probably going to start rationing the amount of fuel you can buy, especially like now. I don't know if you notice, like because fuel is so expensive, it's easy for a fill up to reach over $100. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the pumps automatically typically shut off at $100 because that's how much they've pre-authorized your credit card for to start filling. If you've ever filled up at a truck stop for the bulk diesel, basically, then I think they pre-authorize 300, but at a regular pump, they pre-authorize 100. And what we may see is just in general, the pumps automatically shutting off at a certain amount in a form of rationing, especially if we get to a point of basically like a fuel run where everyone starts rushing to the gas stations to fill up containers and stockpile fuel, particularly diesel, in case of a massive shortage. And with that, we'll see additional rationing in stores, more than likely with food, as diesel is the fuel that drives America and allows the food that we need, that we buy, that we consume, that we stockpile as preppers. That is what delivers that food. Well, if the diesel is already becoming rationed, then it's going to limit the ability for the transportation, thus reducing the amount of food that's going to reach the stores. Then the stores, in an attempt to maintain some form of inventory and prevent panic and chaos, will more than likely start rationing the food so that people don't rush out and buy it all up, especially when there's not much to buy because it's unable to be delivered. And with that, I would imagine not only will we see rationing of the food in the stores before we see the food shortages, but with the rationing, I believe we'll see higher prices as a result, because the stores have to maintain certain levels of profit and overall net income in order to, or just income in general. The net income would be the excess, the actual profit realized. But basically their EBITDA would have to maintain a certain level in order to stay functional, to stay operational. And if there's a reduction of the products to sell, ultimately a reduction of the food to sell, in order to make sure they make enough money, they'll have to charge more for the food that they do sell. Please let me know if this is making sense, or if it's not making sense to you as far as how price adjustments and inflation works with limited supply and limited inventory, especially when there's high demand. If there was limited supply and limited inventory, coupled with no one wanting to buy it, or very few people wanting to buy whatever the commodity was that you were trying to sell, then it wouldn't matter how high your price was, or maybe how low your price was, because it's just not in demand, and you know, it's just not of interest. But when food is required and in high demand, and there's limited and low supply, well, then that allows the ability for price increases, price adjustments, inflation, hyperinflation, price gouging, and then, you know, you add on rationing, then you're going to add on panic and fear for the buyer, for you and I, and you're going to add on panic and fear, thus making the higher price more justifiable. Where if you were to go and buy a gallon of milk, and they're like, look, this milk, we're running out of milk because the diesel trucks can't get diesel to deliver the milk. So we're low on milk. So instead of charging what we would normally charge per gallon for milk, we're going to charge $12 for a gallon of milk. Limit 2 per customer. Well, that rationing limit of 2 has instilled fear in the buyer. And now I'm worried that I can't get enough milk. Or whatever the food may be. Chicken, eggs, flour, wheat, pasta, cooking oil. It could be anything. Avocados, tomatoes, fruits and vegetables. They put the limit on it, so it's like, oh wow, there's a huge problem here. The stores are telling us there's a problem. They're limiting how much we can buy. All right, well, I know this is a really high price, but if I don't get it now, then I'll never get it. So we have to understand and know that this could be a realistic possibility in the near future, whether it's justified or not. The stores, the businesses, the corporations, the CEOs, you know, everybody making millions and millions of dollars a year on, you know, our backs. They're going to be the ones to put this in place, and more than likely they're going to have like a collective effort amongst everyone, because Kroger can't do it by themselves. Publix can't do it by themselves. Sprouts cannot do this by themselves. They need to get together and say, hey guys, why don't we hold back on filling these shelves up, and why don't we go ahead and raise these prices together? That way we'll all make money. We all make a bunch of money. Because if one store does it and everybody else doesn't, then it's obvious and it's clear what that one store is doing. But if they're all doing it together, then the average consumer is going to say, no, this is real. This is true. Food rationing is a thing. We can't get what we need. The prices, the new high prices they set, we have to pay them. And that's pretty much what's going to happen. Now, this could all be reversed, never happen, if we have some form of solution in fuel. But until then, you need to be mindful and cautious of what's to come, not to mention things that won't be coming. For instance, what's going to happen when there's a huge collection and pileup of trash that can't be collected, recyclables that can't be collected and transported to these facilities for processing, because the garbage trucks and the recycling trucks don't have fuel to run. I know that I received a message from my trash collection service. I think it was Republic Trash Collection Service, and they sent me they send out these messages, text messages, and automated phone calls to keep us updated, like if our service is going to be delayed by a day or anything like that for a holiday or something. But at the height of the labor crisis, they were calling continuously saying, look, we're a day behind because we don't have enough people to collect, so your trash is going to be picked up on Thursday instead of Wednesday. Then I received a call that we don't have enough people, so we're just going to stop doing recycling. We're only going to do garbage. And we could possibly see some of these necessities, some of these regular routine activities that we kind of take for granted, that, you know, you put the garbage in the garbage can, you put it out by the curb once a week and it goes away. We may see an end to that. We may see trash getting piled up for the simple fact that the trucks can't run because they don't have the diesel to put these garbage trucks and recycle trucks on the road to clean up the trash. So we really got to be cognizant of what is to come. And then it's like, well, what do you do? What if this continues? What if it continues to get worse? What if the U.S. continues to send all of our diesel fuel to other countries and we run out? Okay, well, then I guess we have to find an alternative. Well, what are your alternatives? You know, horse-drawn carriage, your feet, a bicycle, but honestly, realistically, more than likely, electric vehicles. But then it's like, well, is this really a diesel fuel shortage, or is this to push an agenda for green energy and further wean the United States off of fossil fuels and pretty much never let a good crisis go to waste? Like, is that what we're doing here? Are we trying to just like rip the Band-Aid off and make it so America runs on electric and we're done with fossil fuels? I mean, I can't say if this is for a fact, but it seems mighty odd and very convenient and a huge coincidence that these things are happening at how they're happening in the order in which they're happening, pretty much like on top of each other. You know, one after another, just blow after blow after blow. And, you know, what could drive people more to make changes to their lifestyles than fear of not being able to eat, not being able to earn money, make a living, not be able to protect their family, not being able to just simply travel and see family or take a vacation or anything like that. So, you know, there could be an underlying hidden message here of, you know, we need to push green energy. We can't let these crises go to waste. Let's go ahead and create a diesel fuel shortage. Let's go ahead and compound that by taking the diesel fuel that we do have available and shipping it to other countries. Let's spend millions and billions with a B, billions of dollars on aid for other countries and other wars that we're not a part of. Let's do that. Let's do that. And let's make sure America knows how screwed they are. And their only saving grace is green energy, electric, getting off of fossil fuels, lowering our dependency on gas and petroleum and diesel in order to survive.